In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel,
My name is Sean,
and I'm Jeremy.
and today we're doing a fantasy football rundown.
It's fantasy football season, and we are here to somewhat guide you, or not guide you, depending on if we were in the same league as our listeners. So we're gonna get into it, but it's an episode that we've been looking forward to for a while now. So let's get into it, Sean.
Yeah, so I think the first thing we want to talk about is like your short to drafts, like basically your top players, and I really believe that as far as top players go, you have like I don't know, Gurley and Elliott for running backs, and then Deshaun Watson as a quarterback that are like, if you see them, take them. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of differentiate between the must-haves being the obvious choices, like an Elliott or a Gurley or a Bell, and I was going for more of like players who would be there at like spots 8, 9, 10, etc. Like late first, early second, maybe even third rounders. Um, but yeah, I think it goes without saying if you can get a Gurley or a Bell or an Elliott, go for it. As long as they're not serving any suspensions or hurt right now. But my list I had Deshaun Watson and Alex Collins running back for Baltimore because for Alex Collins it's a scheme fit. Like he's number one on the depth chart for a team that likes to run the ball, and it, for now still only has Joe Flacco as their quarterback. And Deshaun Watson, if he's healthy this year, I mean, we saw what he did last year. He's a really good dual threat quarterback. So
I really think he's gonna break out. So
yeah, I think, and he did last year too. It's just a question of if he'll be able to be on the field a lot. There's something about playing for the Texans that star players seem to get hurt a lot. A la J.J. Watt, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, but as far as like, your most of the first rounds in leagues are going to be drafting running backs because they just seem to fly off the shelves.
So let me ask you a question. Do you go running back first in most of your leagues, or do you go wide receiver first, or are you that surprised person who throws in a quarterback in the first round?
No. Depending if I have a later pick, I'll pick a wide receiver first because I think that the difference between early second round and late first round is fairly non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And because most leagues do a snake draft, actually, I think all leagues do a snake draft. So
unless you're auction.
yeah. But I'll pick the wide receiver first, if I'm a later pick in the first round.
Yeah, I go wide receiver first most of the time, even if I have like the number one overall pick, just because while the stats in terms of being able to put up 10 plus points, a lot of receivers will do that on a near consistent basis. Your opportunity to get the receiver that has most chances of like breaking 20, 30 points a week is the ones that you can get at the beginning of the draft, and you don't really get those with mid-round guys. So I like to go wide receiver first just because they bust out, and then if you're in a PPR league, that kind of justifies it even more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Although it does the same thing for a running back too.
Yeah, because I mean, I just think that if you don't take a running back in like the top two, you're kind of just taking a huge hit in points.
Oh, it's worked for me over the past 6, 7 leagues, but to each their own. It works differently for depending on how many teams you're in, what kind of scoring system you got going on. So
Yeah.
as long as you're not the weirdo who chooses a tight end in the first round,
Yeah,
you're
because I
okay.
mean, even
Because even
quarterbacks
Gronk,
wise,
well,
like,
yeah,
because really you don't see quarterbacks going to like late third or the fourth round.
right. Because a lot of quarterbacks are capable of doing the same thing.
Yeah, but I think like there are three really good quarterbacks, and then like you can wait till like the sixth or seventh round.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then tight ends is like, what are you doing if you pick them in the first round? They don't. Most of them don't generate enough points to warrant it.
Right. The only ones who do are like a Gronk or what
I
used
think.
to be what used to be Jimmy Graham, but even then, like injury concerns plague them enough to like not warrant it.
Yeah, but I think Gronk is the only one who could even be considered this year.
Right, but I'm talking like Saints Jimmy Graham
Yeah, I mean back then,
back
yeah.
in the day. But yeah, there's a number of different ways to go. It's just that I don't know. It's tough to have any set one way will work better than the other way.
Yeah,
Because
you just gotta look at how your board is going and make the decision.
exactly, balance is key.
Definitely.
And then you can always fill in like categories where you only need one, player at each position later.
Yeah, and also it depends on like how many bench you have and how many you want to keep, right,
Right.
for a certain
Hmm.
position. Because if you're in a short bench league, then you're going to be making a lot of ad drops anyway, so you don't
Yeah.
know how much these bench players are going to hit you. So you take like one of every position player, and most of the times pretty early.
Yeah, exactly. And what I don't know what the standard is, maybe 6 for like a bench,
I've
6 players, something like
I've
that.
played
Maybe six
four,
between, yeah, but like maybe somewhere between 5 and 8 probably is
yeah,
standard. So,
usually around six, I think.
mhm.
But I mean, I've been playing like short bench leagues, so like when you only have four on the bench, it gets pretty tough. Who do you want to keep? Who do you have to get rid of?
Right, but the free agency pool is deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's okay with that in mind.
I mean, it also depends on the number of teams, right? Because if you have a 16-team league, your free agency pool is shot no matter how many bench players there are.
All right, well, let's just get this out of the way right now. Don't be in a 16-team league.
Yeah,
You don't want to be that dude who's gripping at like the fourth string running back for the Saints trying to get points, thinking that you're going to squeeze out a victory. Find
yeah,
some other friends and form like a 10-team league and like make it more competitive.
definitely. Yeah,
It's not worth being in a money league because 16 teams in a money league, somebody's getting a lot of money and everybody else is a loser. So, and they feel like a loser
yeah. I
because their
mean,
team is going to suck either way.
I
You
always
can
think
win those
that
leagues and be a loser.
like 12 teams is the max.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 12 teams is definitely the max. You got to be able to make ad drops that are something that's going to help you each week, not like,
Your
well,
ad drops have to be relevant.
right, you don't want to pick up guys hoping that they're going to, return a punt for a touchdown.
You should, like, there should never be a point in time where more than half of the defense special teams are picked up.
Yeah, exactly. Unless, no, there is no unless for that. That's trying to find a little loophole, but there is none.
Yeah, because like you just pick up one for that bye week and then you drop it the week later, and there's no way that in a 12-team league that you have five. Well, there could be, but you have five players looking for a bye week defense special teams. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's also there's just not that many like top tier defenses that are worth keeping on your bench during a bye week either.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so now we've talked the basics of fantasy football. Let's get back into our list here. So we have must-haves, we got sleepers, we got busts, we got I got keep your eye on. You got your don't drafts.
Yep.
So I mean, we got some stuff to cover here. It probably won't be the longest episode we ever do, but it'll probably be the most informative one we ever do.
Yeah. So you want to just kick it off with like sleepers or something?
I see what you did there. Yeah. So I got a few sleepers. My humorous sleeper is, and this one actually made more sense with more research. But Keelan Cole, he's a wide receiver for the Jaguars. Think he could have a big year because the guy apparently he doesn't watch TV, he doesn't watch Netflix. I'm not. He probably only watches game film. So right then and there, this dude's gonna get better with as his career goes on. Has no use for entertainment. Just give me a ball, and we're gonna get better. It's training season, and also Allen Robinson. He plays for the Bears now, so there is no bona fide number one wide receiver for the Jaguars. So everybody gets an increased role until someone steps into and takes that number one receiver role.
Yeah. So my thing is I don't have like a sleeper for wide receivers, but I do think that if you look at like some of the depth charts, like exactly as you were saying, how Keelan Cole is trying to basically vying for that number one spot right on the
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
You look at like even if you just look at the Giants, right? They have Beckham, and then who do they have?
Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna.
He did okay in his rookie year.
But I don't think he's gonna pan out to be that like number two. That, but so I think that another receiver could on that team can step up,
Yeah,
and it's all of
but
that, right?
mhm.
So
it's a watch list kind of thing.
you have, yeah, you have to look for those teams who don't have their like full on number one, or maybe just only have a number one, and they're maybe looking for that number two because you're going to be drafting wide receivers. You play two of them or more depending on the flex spot, right? So
hmm
you're going to be looking for wide receivers. Just look for a team that you think this guy could break out on their team, and they don't have a number one and two, right?
So, well, fun story because that actually works for running backs too, and I'll tell you why. Because a few years ago, I was just I was in the middle of a draft and I was like, all these running backs are taken, and I still need another one. Uh, I wouldn't like no one's ever said, I don't know who the Falcons running back is, so I looked up on the depth chart, and it was Devontae Freeman in his rookie year and Tevin Coleman. As one of the two were in his second year, and the other was a rookie, but they were playing like behind Michael Turner, and Michael Turner had left. So I picked up both at the end of the draft, and as you know, that was the year that Devontae Freeman went on a monster tear, and Tevin Coleman ended up being a pretty good pickup too.
Yeah.
The end. It's a good story.
Yeah, but like
All the kids are
exactly
happy.
what you have to look for is like, but see, the wide receiver and running back are like the two things that this works for. Because if you look at tight ends, like it's basically up in the air. You got to make sure you're not drafting a blocking tight end because you need the points, right? So
No one's better than drafting a blocking tight end in the third round.
oh, that would literally like ruin you though because it's like
Or,
10.
or would it? Or would it? Jack Doyle is not a blocking tight end, actually.
I don't think he is.
Is there any like real, true blocking tight ends anymore, though?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can all catch, but it's just what like if your team has like two tight ends, it's what do they put in for? Are they put in for the tight like running block, or are they put into chip and
I
roll?
mean, I feel like in today's NFL, you either have a fullback or you have a blocking tight end, but you don't need both on a roster.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
they still exist.
it exists. We live in an era where it doesn't exist heavily, though.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
All right, so back to sleepers. Let's see. I think Mitch Trubisky.
Okay.
Last year threw 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 12 games. Not the greatest stat line, but he's a rookie, and to do it on a Bears team that didn't have a lot in terms of offense outside of Jordan Howard and I guess Tariq Cohen, he did okay. So now the front office, they invested in putting some weapons around him. They got Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton, and Allen Robinson for him to target. So they got some good options there. He showed his potential, and 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. It's growing pains kind of stuff. It's not going to last forever if he's a good enough quarterback. So it might be worth taking a flyer on. You don't have to start him week one, but you can put him on the bench, give him a
Yeah.
little time to see how it pans out. It's like a sixth or seventh round pick. Is maybe even later, but you
Not
don't
even
have.
because if you pick up like your normal quarterback is like if you pick up a really good one like top three, you're gonna look at
Mhm.
like third round probably, right? So
Yeah.
then if you look at the rest of the quarterbacks, they're probably not going until like the sixth, seventh round. So you really,
Yeah. Okay, so let me. Trubisky, ninth round.
yeah, I would say that's okay. That's okay. Aside from that, like maybe even later, because
It depends on how many rounds you get. I mean,
yeah,
let's
but
say you got
even if you
12
have to,
rounds, you probably take a kicker and a defense a little later than that. So there's not too much of a window there.
yeah, true.
All right. And my other sleeper is a big slumber one for David Njoku, the tight end from the Browns. This guy is probably he can probably do it with any quarterback because he's had to do it with any quarterback. Uh, Only his second year, had 4 touchdowns last year in essentially half a season when he came on. 6'4" comes with some big height, but he doesn't have the injury risk as far as I could tell in my research. So why take a Gronk or a Jimmy Graham when you could take a guy who is a little smaller, a David Njoku, who opens up the field now that they have Jarvis Landry there too.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Get him in the fifth, sixth, or seventh round because you're going to need to take a tight end a little sooner than you take your backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you should be getting tight ends around like the fourth to sixth round. I think is a
Yeah,
good place.
tight end is one of those positions where you can only carry one on the roster and not really because no
Yeah,
tight end is going to be your flex. So
no
like
way.
they're interchangeable to some degree. Although I'd say the one that you draft when they are on their bye week, maybe you put them on the bench and pick up someone else.
Yeah, like
Maybe
because
put like a wide receiver back on the free agent pool.
yeah, because you can always pick up a flex wide receiver if your league is small enough, right? And
Exactly.
but really, I think as long as if you're drafting like I don't know, like a Gronk or maybe an Ernst, you're gonna keep them. But if you're going down and drafting, I don't know, like like a Kyle Rudolph or a Walker,
Hmm.
you could probably drop them and pick up somebody close. It's all
No,
about
exactly.
space.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said once, I'll say a million times, those injury risk guys at tight end, they're not worth drafting high.
Oh no, definitely not.
Let's see. All right, so what about your busts?
So, okay, so my bust. So I'm not talking about bust as they're gonna like just completely not matter. I'm saying they're not gonna perform to their expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have Devonte Freeman as like a bust because I don't think he's going to perform to what people think,
Mm-hmm.
like most of the time I think most leagues will probably draft Freeman around the second or third round. But I think he's not going to be like your shoe in for always having your running back spot. I don't think he's going to perform to where some of the other ones that should be taken around him will.
Right, and I think it's worth noting that while Tevin Coleman is a different kind of running back, that probably isn't taking his job. The fact of the matter is they're both dynamic enough that like they will split reps more than they will
Yeah.
be like a third down back kind of situation. So
Yeah.
it's worth noting that you know
Oh, definitely.
they're going to be sharing some spots. It's not like Le'Veon Bell and James Conner kind of thing. Like it's two pretty talented guys out there.
Oh yeah. But still, I think people remember you said you drafted both Freeman and
And Coleman, yeah.
Coleman, right? And they both had pretty breakout seasons, but I
Mhm.
think people are still high on Freeman, and I think he's a great back. Don't get me wrong, but like I think if you're already drafting a running back in like round 2 or 3,
Mhm.
I don't think you should use your pick on him. I think there's a lot like other positions that you should get around there to more even out your roster than
Mhm.
Freeman.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would say the same thing of who is it? Jeez, I'm blanking on it. I'm gonna have to come back to it. But like some of these rookie running backs, or no, Dalvin Cook. Not
Delvin
exactly.
Cook.
I'm not
Okay, I agree
exactly.
with that.
I'm not exactly sold that he should be the number 4 ranked running back.
Oh heck no! I think
No.
I think Delvin Cook is probably like a round 2 mid kind of running back.
Yeah, I'd put him in the 2, 3, maybe even fourth round.
Yeah,
Like because a
and
tore his ACL last year, so we
yeah.
don't know what he looks like on an NFL level. We're still kind of judging off
Okay.
college stats, but
Also, I'm not saying okay. So this is not like bust level, but people are rating Barkley so high. What does he have? One preseason game.
yeah, I mean, but Barkley
I
is
mean, I wouldn't take the like. So as much as I do, I'm a Giants fan, right? So I do hope he does well, like
he
really
will.
well.
He
I'm not
will.
taking the chance of drafting him in the first round, like a lot of like
No,
insiders are saying.
I don't think you can trust a lot of rookies to be like that in the first
Yeah,
round.
yeah. So and like, it's just like why would I don't think he's a first round material because
Not this
like
year.
you have a couple of good wide receivers that'll probably go towards the end of the first round,
Hmm.
and then in the second round you got like probably gonna have Gronk go. You're gonna look at more wide receivers, and you might get that one person at the end of the round that drops a quarterback.
Right.
So
There's always one.
yeah, and so I just as much as I think he's going to be a great player, I just don't know how much time it'll take him to ramp up to the NFL stage because I don't think he's just going to come in and be amazing, right?
Right.
Like grab him in the third, fourth round, sit him for like 2 weeks, and then throw him in to give him those like couple weeks to get used to NFL.
Right. It's not time yet for him to have like all the spotlight harnessed onto his shoulders.
You know they're going to do that anyway, but
I mean, it's the Giants.
yeah.
I just mean like from a fantasy perspective, I don't think he cares about what people's fantasy outcomes are.
Oh yeah,
I mean, most NFL players don't, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just not
yeah. It's
for
not.
for a rookie. It shouldn't even cross the mind.
Yeah, it's just I saw him being like late round 1 on a lot of like insiders
Hmm.
boards,
I
and I just don't see it.
I'd take him in the second round for sure, but
Yeah, I
not
would
in the
say
first.
second, like mid second, if he's still there, early third, take him,
Hmm.
but not in the first round.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. But we'll see. I'm rooting for Barkley. I
Yeah, so
think that he's the most marketable, kind-faced dude that the NFL's had in a long time.
Yeah, so am I. I'm totally rooting for Barkley.
Oh yeah, it has nothing to do with being a Giants fan though.
Oh heck yeah. Yeah, you want to go through some of your busts or?
I would be more than happy to, Sean. So let's see. Jimmy Graham. Uh,
Okay.
People love the Jimmy Graham move because everybody thinks that it's 2012, and you know, I guess for the first time since he got traded away from the Saints, he has the big gunslinger quarterback. No disrespect to Russell Wilson, but this is like open field passing game that like he had when he was playing for the Saints. So a lot of people are gonna say, look, this is gonna be like the return of his stats being huge and everything. I don't see it.
Okay.
It's not like the Packers haven't tried to pick up tight ends in the past. Martellus Bennett, after he had a monster year with the Patriots, uh, Jared Cook, Jermichael Finley, like they've picked up tight ends, like 4 tight ends in the last 7 years, and they keep having dud years that result in retirements or going to like a team like Oakland when they're rebuilding. So it's if it's not gonna happen with those guys, get ready because it's not gonna happen with Jimmy Graham either.
I agree. I don't like. I mean, again, you said you have a gunslinger quarterback, right?
Right, and let's not forget, the Packers have never needed one receiver to be successful anyway. I mean, Jordy Nelson's torn, or he's gone now, but he like tore his ACL twice, and it didn't
Yeah.
stop them from like spreading the ball to undrafted rookies.
Yeah. So
So
I
they
mean,
don't need Jimmy Graham to be successful, and they will spread the ball around.
yeah, and I think because again, Rodgers will throw far, so most of those targets are going to be wide receivers.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Jimmy Graham can do good, but he's not going to get the reps that a fantasy player wants out of him.
Yeah, I agree with
It
that.
is what it is. Like, take it from someone who had Martellus Bennett last year. Like, I had to drop him by week 4 because he wasn't doing anything, and it ended up being a good move because like just ad dropping was better than having Martellus Bennett in the lineup most weeks. And my other one is Jameis Winston. Just you don't even need to be like a huge football fan to know. Just don't draft Jameis Winston. The dude's like, I get that like he enjoys football, but he's incapable of not doing stupid stuff off the field. He's suspended for the first 3 games of the season, and as much as he's shown that he has potential to be a good quarterback, he hasn't shown it consistently enough to actually
So,
harness it and become a good quarterback.
so I just think that no matter how good the quarterback is, if they're missing for 3 weeks, you're not going to draft him
Correct. Well,
because
yeah, it
you
depends on
can't.
how many teams you have in your league.
Yeah, but still, like, it also depends on bench space and all that. But you're just gonna leave him there and then hope that his week of reps is gonna be okay. But for my quarterback, I actually have one uh, that I don't think is gonna do as well as people maybe project, and I think Kirk Cousins
Mm-hmm.
is going to disappoint a lot of people.
I completely agree with that. I think
I
that
just
Kirk Cousins has long been one of the more overrated
yeah,
players
like
in the league.
yeah, people are like putting him top 10 quarterbacks, and I just think he's like so mid tier
Mm-hmm.
at this point, like especially for fantasy points. Like I just don't expect really good points out of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I don't either. I think he's overrated, overpaid, overvalued. The guy does a whole lot of nothing. Uh,
Yeah, so there's my quarterback bust.
all right, what else you got?
Okay, so last one that I want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I can. Okay, so last one I want to talk. Um, there's So as far as running back, I said Devontae Freeman, right? But like, if we go down more, right? Like, I I don't think like Ajay is going to be a good pickup this year, like at all. I just don't see it.
Um, can you say that one more time?
Ajay, Jay Ajay.
Yeah.
I don't see him being a good pickup this year. Like last year, he was pretty good for a pickup. Like I had him flex,
Mm-hmm.
and he produced points. But like this year, I just don't see him getting to that level again. Because I think he's not the type of player that will do that. I think last year was just his peak.
Well, I think that he would be a decent like fourth back to add to your roster at the very end of the draft, but I wouldn't put him any higher than that.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think running backs of his caliber will be available in your waiver wire for when you need the fourth back, right? Most of the time, it's like what, two running backs and the flex.
yeah, I always yeah, go running back for the flex most weeks.
Yeah, most weeks I do running back unless I need to like put a wide receiver in
Yeah.
the off chance. But like I do think that he will sink to like the average running backs, so where you will be able to pick up maybe that running back if necessary. Like say you have an injury that you don't necessarily need to draft a guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
Okay, so you want to add anybody?
Let's see. Just buyer beware on those rookie running backs again. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
But I think we both say that. Like again, Saquon Barkley. As much as I want him to do really well, I'm not drafting him early as a lot of the insiders say.
yeah, I don't know. Like, they're rookies for a reason. Like, it takes time to grow.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright.
So moving on, we got
I think our don't draft lists are
yeah.
basically the same.
So mine is essentially like there's always a guy who's gonna do some stupid shit that you just like you can't have that around. Like the fantasy season is short. If football season, the regular season is 17 weeks, fantasy season is
30.
like 12 weeks. 12, 13, 14 weeks. So you don't want to get stuck in the stupid shit. Like when I tell you that DeAndre Hopkins is dating Iggy Azalea, that's some stupid shit. Just no.
Get out of
It's
it.
it's it's like the girl who like looks cute but has a lot of red flags personally.
A
You
lot of baggage.
yeah, it's like there's nothing wrong with them and props to them for, being comfortable with who they are. But like I'm not taking this flyer just yet. Somebody else can and somebody else deserves to and everybody deserves to be happy. But no, I'm not taking that flyer right now. I'm too smart to take that flyer at this point in time. So Iggy Azalea. It doesn't take a lot to know that if you want to ruin your man and he's a wide receiver, all you have to do is go after the hands. So I'm not messing with that drama. And these celebrity couples, it does go down with drama. So football season is only so long, man. It's not
Yep.
worth it. And LaShawn McCoy. Dude's injured most years. He's also dealing with some off the field issues too, in that he may or have not allegedly like hired someone to go beat up someone. So you know, just for both on the field and off the field reasons, let's stay away from LaShawn McCoy for
Yeah,
this
but
year.
that that's gonna like that has the potential to result in a suspension in your already short season, right? So
Well, suspension or not, LaShawn McCoy is going to miss time. It's just
yeah,
LaShawn McCoy.
yeah, and that too. Like I think he's gonna get hurt. Like again,
Yeah.
my don't drafts are exactly the same. Like DeAndre Hopkins for personal reasons, and LaShawn McCoy, he's gonna get hurt, and he's involved in some things.
Yeah, I don't understand why like these guys can't just live normal lives, but I guess they just love to do it.
I mean, it comes with fame. Like you're kind of like spotlit.
Hmm.
So it's not like you ask for it. You're just trying, like, even if you just try to be normal, everything you do is like blown up by 100,
Yeah.
and then there's you just do something dumb, and that just ruins you. But
Yep.
hey,
It's a large risk reward. It's
yeah, hey, at least
very
we don't got somebody like Plexico Burris shooting himself.
very rarely does it pan out as well as you think it's going to. Like
Yeah,
these celebrity couples, very rarely does it end up with like they're getting married or something.
eh,
Like 95% of the time, I want to say it just ends up with being like they're broken up. So
yep.
it's like, why get into it if you have to?
Mhm.
What else?
Okay, so I'm not gonna say don't draft this guy, but I think he's gonna like be a small bit of a bust, and I'm gonna say Carson Wentz. I think
Okay.
there are a lot better quarterbacks than him out there ahead of him that you should totally be able to get.
Hmm.
And again, just like I don't like I don't see him performing this year.
Yeah, I could see that. I think uh, there's a bit of a quarterback battle, although it's Wentz's job to lose.
Yeah, but
Um,
you have to assume that like either the pressure makes him so if the pressure makes him do amazingly, that's good for him, but you always have that battle in the back of your mind, right? So
right. Plus, him coming back from an injury, he might be rushing himself back and might get hurt again.
yeah, I don't like I would stay away from Wentz because there are a lot of other quarterbacks whom either we're gonna talk about in a little bit or whom we already know are just safer, more consistent pickups.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, so
Yeah.
you have anybody else?
Nope. Nope.
All right, so um so this is a actually I have a quarterback want to people to watch for, right?
All right.
And what's his name? What's it? Pat Mahomes? I don't know how
Patrick
to say it.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Think he might have
I
stolen this from my list.
I no, but
Or
I
no.
think this guy, like, give him like a couple weeks, he'll just produce.
We'll see. I have him on my stash but don't start yet list because I think it's not the question of what he can do in terms of Mahomes. I think it's a question of what the Chiefs will do.
What can they
Because
do around him? But I think
no, it's not that. It's that they just spent the last 6 years with Alex Smith, where they didn't have a very heavy throw the ball down the field or even throw the ball kind of game plan. So
yeah,
if I understand that Alex Smith is a different quarterback, but
but
if they are still set on that same game plan, then Patrick Mahomes, as it comes to a fantasy player, is reduced in terms of what he can do.
I don't like. I'm not saying draft him early, but
Oh no, of course
like
not.
I think he's a great mid-tier quarterback. Like I think he's definitely above like a Wentz or a Cousins
Yeah.
to draft. Like he's. I think again, I'm going to use those two because I don't think you should be drafting those guys unless you really have to.
Yeah.
But I
Go
I
ahead.
think he will like put up a good enough amount of points for where he needs to be drafted, like middle of the pack quarterback.
Yeah, I'd put him as a QB too.
Yeah.
Uh, I like Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff could be in the same conversation.
All right.
Oh,
I can agree with that.
he he didn't he didn't play like garbage last year, and in his first full season, he looked pretty damn good, in my opinion. Um, uh, I got one for your watch list though. It's I give the rookies a lot of flack, but I think Baker Mayfield. You don't draft this guy, you don't start this guy, but
Pick him up off waiver wire.
yeah, it's a mid-season waiver wire, if anything.
Oh
Because
god, that's pretty bold.
well, Baker Mayfield has such a passion for the game that I don't think that he can be unsuccessful at it. Like
Okay.
his emotional drive to be the
Okay.
best player on the field. I think that he is what Cleveland needs, and I think he's the best chance for Cleveland to succeed at the quarterback position for
Okay.
years to
I
come.
I agree with you that he will like. I think he is what Cleveland needs, but I don't think this year is Cleveland's year.
Oh no, absolutely not. But I don't.
So,
I think that the guy's just too driven to not do well.
but I don't think there are enough supporting cast around him for him to reach a level where you'd play him in fantasy
Maybe not this year, but we'll see. We'll
consistently.
see. We'll see.
Next year,
We'll see.
next year's a different
Hey,
story, and because I
hey,
do agree with you, he has the drive and
hey!
everything,
I said
but
we'll see.
I just don't see it.
Well, you will see it. We'll see.
Okay, I
Yeah,
hope I'm wrong.
yeah, oh, yeah. Well, no need to hope. No need to hope.
All right.
I'm just out here catching dubs.
So, anybody else you want to talk
Um,
about?
Saquon Barkley, number one overall, just to piss off Sean.
Yeah, you know that's not gonna happen.
Let's see. Chris Thompson, I think he could be a good bench bat running back. Um, Derrick
I
Henry.
agree.
Derrick Henry is rated in this magazine 26 among running backs. I think the guy's a lot better than 26. You might want to,
Yeah,
if you can sneak him into your lineup, go ahead and do it.
I think he's
Um,
like. I actually think Derrick Henry is like a good max, like minimum flex running back, right?
yeah, exactly.
I
He's
think he's
got a
like a
lot of
round
upside.
four type of guy.
He's got a lot of upside. Let's see here. Let's see. Jerick McKinnon, severely overrated. I don't know why he's ranked number 14 among running backs, unless it's a pure PPR thing. He's
Yeah, I
not.
think
He's
so.
not a big running back. So let's see.
I know he's rated higher for PPR than he's non.
Well, you would hope so because otherwise that just doesn't make any sense. These guys are experts because they can write on paper. Okay. Um, Let's see. Donta Foreman for the Texans might be a decent thing if Lamar Miller doesn't pan out. You never know. He's
Yeah.
Lamar Miller's an getting up there guy. Samaje Perine for the Redskins did okay in a few games, but then he got hurt, so we'll see. I wouldn't draft him just yet. Adam
No, I think
Thielen
I'd
for
pick him
wide
up
receivers. Draft the
later.
dude. Adam Thielen came out of nowhere, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. The dude was a former practice squad player who has slowly worked his way up through the organization. I don't see him going down anytime soon.
No, I think he's a pretty solid wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll probably be looking for a wide receiver.
Yeah,
He should be available like
yeah.
fourth round probably.
Alshon Jeffrey made put up the numbers he did in his first few years in Chicago, but seeing as Trey Burton and some of those other guys left the Eagles, he is your number one in Philadelphia, and Mike Wallace ain't gonna cut it as a number two. So here's your chance to get a number one wide receiver in, and not have to do it in the top 2-3 rounds. So
Yeah, I agree.
I like Juju Smith-Schuster just because he can't get AB the ball all the time. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? There's got to be more, I tell you.
Hey, how about we talk
Paul
about something we
Richardson.
haven't yet?
Paul Richardson. I don't think you can rely on Doug Baldwin forever.
Yeah, that's fair. But
Evan Ingram.
Ingram, I think he'll do okay.
Think that's the dude I replaced Martellus Bennett with last year. Did pretty damn good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's like a mid-tier tight end, right? Evan Ingram?
Yeah.
Mid-tier tight end.
Mid-tier because he's in his second year. If it's his fourth year, I think he's a top 5 tight end.
Yeah, I think you'll start to hear him around like the Ertz kind of, the Zach Ertz kind of like level in a couple years.
All right, so I interrupted you. You said that you had an idea.
Well, why don't we talk about like defense, because we haven't talked about it.
Well, defense wins championships, but not when you're playing fantasy.
Yeah, but then again, you don't want to like draft a defense that will just let you lose 10 points every game.
Right. So if you can stay away from, well, actually the Browns' defense isn't bad. It's just not good enough to win, or it wasn't when there was no offense. Let's see. I don't know why this magazine only has offensive line stuff. I want defense.
So I mean, like, if you can't get one of like the better defenses in the league, just like stay away from the teams that tend to give up a lot of points and win through like shootouts or.
Yeah. The Steelers defense, I wouldn't trust them just yet. They're getting better, but they play shootout games, so.
Yeah.
Saints defense probably going to yield some points. There's a chance that they don't. Like, they've got some good young talent, but I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would just not look at the Raiders defense, just like throw it out.
Yeah,
like
throw it out.
That,
I'd say the
that
same
kind of
thing
team
with the
will lose
Lions
you.
defense. You don't need that.
Yeah. You just don't need it.
Colts defense, I don't think that they're there yet. The Colts, I mean, because they spent all their draft investing in trying to like protect Andrew Luck now, so like they were so overdue on their homework for that they forgot like that their defense sucks.
But I don't think they're the worst choice. Like I think
we're just naming bad ones.
But if you're in a league where it's like 12 defenses and you end up drafting the Colts defense, it's not the worst. I don't think they're gonna lose you points every week. They're just not gonna make you many.
What about the Dolphins defense? You're a big Dolphins defense guy, right?
No, get that out of here.
Seahawks defense. No,
I think they're too much of a shootout type team.
You don't do that anymore. The Legion of Boom is Legion of Gone.
Because I'd even be like on the fence about like the Packers defense, because Rodgers just loves to throw the long ball and they score a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Packers, like, not to be that guy, but the Packers are the ultimate. We have a white linebacker team because they just always do. AJ Hawk, Clay Matthews, they draft based on the Packers way instead of a different kind of like where they draft based on system fit, which isn't always the most athletic guys.
Yeah, and like I know how we're just crapping on defenses right now, but like a couple defenses I think will actually like make you points week in and week out. Like I actually think the Rams defense is gonna be good this year for a fantasy perspective of a defense. Like I can see them making you like 10 points per game on average.
I think they have the potential to, but some of their guys are a little older. Like I don't like the Aqib Talib pickup because
Yeah. Okay.
Aqib Talib for a cornerback is a little older.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think that most of their guys have the potential to do it. I think that Ndamukong Suh is a little
Yep.
too old to contribute on the level that paper suggests that he can.
Mhm.
So, but if they put it all together into one and put the scheme fit on it and it works, then I think it can work. I just don't know just yet how good they'll be.
Yep.
Because they could.
Okay, I can agree with that, but I do think I would bet on them. So like if they were there towards probably like round 9 or so, I don't know when most people draft defenses,
Mm-hmm.
but that's around the time I'd be like, yeah, I could pick them up.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that I mean defenses are interchangeable enough that you can take a risk.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and they'll still be like, even if you're in a 16 team league, like, oh boo-hoo, you gotta deal with the Falcons defense. It's not gonna lose you points. It's not gonna gain you any. It's just
Right.
that's
It's a
okay.
mid-tier defense. It depends on the opponent who they play.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, especially in the smaller leagues, like nobody's gonna hold on to an extra defense, so you can always drop bad defenses
Exactly.
all day.
We do it all the time, and we are pros.
Yeah. So, what about kickers?
Matt Prater.
I agree with
Matt
that one.
Prater. The dude kicked. Not only did he kick 60 yarders when he was with the Broncos, he kicks 60 yarders when he's with the Lions playing in the dome. The dude just has a boot on his legs. You don't need to go any further if you don't have to. If you're going for consistency, you get yourself a Goskowski, a Boswell, a Vinatieri. If you want a
Yeah,
guy,
even a Bryant is like
yeah,
still
exactly.
pretty consistent.
You know, a Justin Tucker, I mean, the dude's really good, but if you want guys who are going to be around, because Justin Tucker most of the time is going to be the first kicker to go, then those are the other guys. I'd even throw Jake Elliott in there. Kicked a 60-plus game winner last year. Did pretty damn well for the Eagles in his rookie year. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can agree with that.
Boom. Close
But I
book
mean,
on that
as
one.
far as like you still have your mid tier kickers like Graham Gano and Bailey. They'll still do
Graham
okay for
Gano.
you,
Graham Gano
huh?
sucks.
Yeah, but he's still do okay.
Eh,
It's not like you're gonna be relying on like freaking whoever the Giants picked up as a kicker. Like if you ever have to draft the Giants, add the Giants kicker, just
Who is the
rethink what
Giants
you're doing.
kicker?
I have no idea.
Look it up then.
I think his name is what Aldrich Roses.
Oh, Roses. Rosas or whatever?
Rosas, yeah.
I think he's good.
I don't see it. Like, can we just pick him up?
No, you guys signed him a while ago, I think.
Uh,
Claimed him off the waiver wire. Just like
but
that
like,
bike.
I mean, because I think like even if you had to like pick a Crosby, Mason Crosby, or
Crosby?
he'll still be okay.
Did somebody say Crosby? It is National Left-Handers Day. Fantasy hockey season right around the corner.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, trying to do one of these for hockey would take forever.
It would. I don't think that we have. We'd have to split it into a mini series.
Yeah. But I know I want to play fantasy hockey this year.
I haven't played it since 2013. I went out on top. I won that league. It was a league full
Yeah.
of cops too.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that covers like defense and kickers
Yep.
pretty well.
Yep. I think.
Just stay away from the bottom tier teams. Actually, the kickers for the bottom tier teams might not actually be a bad idea per se because the bottom tier teams just means they can't get touchdowns a lot.
Yeah. Know your teams who can't make it to the end zone.
And it also depends. Do you have like minus points for missing field goals? Because that does change how you draft your kicker.
I think the standard is -1.
Yeah, it depends. I've seen the leagues where like if they miss a longer field goal, that they attempted, it's worse.
I mean, it certainly isn't better.
Well, no, like I've seen. I think it was like if they miss like a 40-yarder, it's like -3 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I would. I think the most I've ever played in was a -2.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, but those are all things you gotta like adapt to your situation because all the kickers aren't gonna do terrible per se. Just make sure they
Oh
don't
yeah,
pull
they're.
their hamstring or something.
Oh yeah, hammy season.
So yeah.
R.I.P. to Sean Sweezum. May you rest in Canadian peace.
Yeah.
He's doing so well until that preseason game. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that basically covers me for players I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, me too. So, good luck to everybody in their fantasy season. Happy drafting, and you're all gonna lose to us anyway. So, be on the lookout
Yeah.
because we can tell you who to draft, who not to draft. We're still coming for that ass. All right. Catch you guys next week.
Yep. Bye bye.